Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, and welcome back to MLE Sports. My name is Maple, and joining me in the booth tonight to finish out this last game is none other than my friend, Captain Etsoka. Captain, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing just well, especially off of that series. I'm telling you, that first one was an absolute doozy. Going all the way into Game 5, and again, I hope we manage to keep that level of intensity and the level of competition as we move on with the night. And up next, we have the Ducks taking on the Hive in the Champion League. And again, I don't know if y'all heard, but in case you didn't, we have a special guest out there, and that's going to be the one, the only, Rogers, coming all the way from the Oklahoma State roleplay, and I gotta say, I'm pretty excited to see this one fold out.
I am very excited to see this one unfold. We have the Hive, who are 33-22 and first in their division, and in second place, none other than the Ducks, my friends over there, who are 30-25. They sit 3 games behind. So for the Ducks, if they can win this in a 4-1, they're able to tie it up with the Hive, and it sounds like they might even have the divisional tiebreaker. So I think tonight we are going to be hosting another really great and close game. Seeing it go 3-2 would not surprise me at all. On the Ducks end, we are going to watch Kava, Chaos Spike, and Spidey play. And on the Hive, we're going to see Moxon, Rebel, and our man Rogers from the OKSRP group. And again, welcome to all the fans who are watching out there tonight. I hope that all of you are ready to join Captain Etsoka and I in what we think is going to be a great match. Captain, anybody on either team that kind of sticks out to you so far?
Oh, what's sticking out like some sore thumbs? Let's take a look at it real quick, because we got some hitters, kind of coming from both sides, but I mean, just standing out alone is really looking kind of like for the Hive, just as far as individual play goes. We're going to look at the Hive real quick as Andre. I believe it's either Andre or Andre. We all know I have a history with mispronunciation, so let's try and keep it as level as we can. I'm going to go with Andre. That's the best I got. But they are 9th overall in MVPR, which is pretty impressive coming from the Hive. And then we see Andre again for the amount of goals. They are number 1 on the leaderboards for the save goals made statistic. And then as we go further down, we got, of course, my guy Rogers holding the number 4 spot with the win percentage for the Hive. So again, we got some heavy hitters coming from that side of the field.
We certainly do, and on the other side of the Ducks team, holding just about every one of the stats and team leaders is Kava. And Kava's a fantastic player with some really good skill. As we see Kava there put a shot on net, a nice hard flick, and it does get saved, but this is the way this game is going to be. Again, like last time, we're in Champion League with these players being high champ and maybe some low GCs, so I think we've got some really great play and a lot of skill here in store for us tonight, Captain.
And I could not look more forward to it than I am right now. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get into it. As, of course, a minute of play is almost nearly over with, as it will be Moxon to send this one off the backboard, but nobody there to receive it. Rebel will finally show up and send this one off into the side, but it will be an easy clear for Spidey to send this one over back into the Hive side, and an absolute banger coming off the side wall. Over for Rebel, will put this one down nearly on target, but the follow-up shot from Buck Rogers is going to put this one into the back of the net and give the Hive a 1-goal lead early.
Well, I bet our friends over at OKSRP are very excited to see their boy Rogers put this one into the back of the net, and a little bit of a punish by the defensive player from the Ducks being a little bit too far forward and not sitting at back post where they'd be able to make that save if they were.
Which is really a common mistake. And again, we're going to see plenty of mistakes unfold. It's game number 1. That's what game number 1 is for, honestly. Like, if I'm in a competitive series, or if I'm even one of these players on the field, I'm not going to take a game number 1 loss that bad. But you know what? Who's also not going to be taking anything that bad? It's going to be Kava. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Maple? Is it Kava?
It is Kava. You are absolutely right. And a gorgeous goal here. A well-placed shot on net. Kava comes in. The defender couldn't quite get that out quickly enough, punches that in, and it's a 1-1 tie, 3:34 left.
Yep, and the kickoff already underway. Moxon putting this one on target again. A lot of offense I'm seeing come from the Hive, but still 1-1 as Rogers will put this one underneath the crossbar, barely getting a touch there. And what was this? Oh my goodness. I don't think that this redirect could have came even if they tried. Rebel hitting this one off of a floating defender, putting this into the back of the net. How many highlight reel own goals are we going to see tonight, maybe?
Well, you know what? Most own goals are highlight reel because we're trying to make a defensive play, and they usually look really good. Chaos Spike, and a quick shout out to Chaos, who is also a caster and somebody that I've had the pleasure of working before, and also a fellow Canadian. So Chaos coming down, trying to make a save, but unfortunately knocks that one in the net. And the Hive are going to regain their 1-goal lead that they had before, but I'm sure that the Ducks here are going to be wanting very much to respond in kind.
And honestly, that's going to be going along with the theme that we've seen so far here tonight, as Kava will hold down the midfield, looking to get some swish and flicks, but we'll find nothing but air, as this will go back towards the midfield, as Rogers is going to be an absolute pain in the Ducks side, as finally they're able to get a return in kind. Chaos Spike was able to get that save, as Rogers now taking control, trying to bring this one past Spidey, but the 50-50 will bring it towards Kava, as this will go towards the midfield again for Chaos Spike. Trying to go off the backboard now is Rebel, who will take a lot of time and a lot of control to make sure that ball doesn't go too much of anywhere, but Rogers absolutely squashing Spidey there at the midfield, but the open shot left open for Chaos Spike will tie the game back up at 2.
Well, there's our boy Chaos Spike, GM of the Ducks, in fact, and he is in the right place at the right time. And you mentioned this in the last game, right? Put that ball off the backboard, draw out one of the defenders, which is exactly what happened, which opens up that back half of the net, and Chaos Spike makes no mistake, tying this game up with about half of it left to go.
And now looking for the waterfall touch with Spidey. That would have been really impressive, but I don't think Spidey had nearly enough boost to pull that one off, but I like the way you think. As this now will go towards the midfield, and Spidey coming back to get seconds, looking for that follow-up touch, but does not find it now. Looking to get a shot on the back of the net, but a double miss and a double whiff coming out from the Ducks. Rebel now putting this one back into the Ducks half, as Spidey will play some defense, putting this off to the middle, and now Moxon taking this one out to the corner for Rogers, looking for that midfield pass, but Spidey was there to break it up.
Some really good play so far here, but good play on both sides. There hasn't been a ton of offensive opportunity, and where there has been, with how sporadic it's just been kind of shot here, shot there, and not a lot of rotation. But as you said earlier, first game, and the first game of every series almost always starts off this way, with kind of some feeling out and that little bit of process. But we have some really good skill here, and already the pace of this game is what's impressing me, Captain, as we see players moving in supersonic speeds almost all the time.
Not just the supersonic speeds that I'm picking up on, don't get me wrong, like that's definitely a huge catalyst in it, but one thing that I'm noticing that they're doing is that they're displaying a huge amount of control. Every time they hit the ball, it's with purpose and it's in a given direction. It's part of a developing play. They're putting it there on purpose, and that's what we're seeing. A lot of that control, intentional passes. They're finding each other on the field, because it's not like they're not getting pass plays done, and it's not like, you know, they're just hitting the ball randomly on the field. They're putting it where they want to be. They're finding their teammates, and that impressive amount of offense is only met with an equal impressive amount of defense being to break those plays up, because I'm seeing a lot of back and forth, you know, between the teammates there, you know, on the Hive side, but the Ducks have just been really good at breaking it up.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And you know what? I think that perception is fantastic. I think that both teams here are pushing each other, and that's what I'm really enjoying. And you know what? You're right. It's not just supersonic. Every touch seems to be, for the most part, meaningful. And that's important, because hitting the ball for no reason doesn't really accomplish anything. And as I say that, the ball hits the ground, and here we go. Game 1 in overtime.
Yep, and now Kava taking control here in their own corner, trying to bring it to the midfield, but Rogers shuts that one down like a bad habit, as Spidey is able to send this one up, looking for a cherry pick, but will find no fruit there, as Spidey will send this back across the half and is broken up by Mox. And Kava is now going to try and hold this presence at the midfield, keeping the ball aloft inside the Hive side. Spidey now in the retreat, getting back in time just to get the save here. Spidey will now take control at the midfield, has one teammate to work with, will find the banger, but not the back of the net. The Hive will hold the defensive line.
Oh, and just as we say that, Chaos Spike with a great opportunity, but not able to capitalize as the Hive continue on. But here we go. Kava up in the air, receives a fantastic pass here by Spidey off the backboard in the corner. some nice flips and some turns in the air, and he makes no mistake about putting that in the net. The first game, go to the Ducks, and here we are, 1-0 Ducks in this series. Man, really good play on both sides. Different pace than we saw in the last game. Some more opportunities and some better saves. I mean, we're looking at these shots already, Captain, and we've got 9 shots aside. Some really equal play from both sides.
You're looking at the shots. I'm looking at the saves. We got 5 saves from the Ducks. And over on the other side, Rogers with a Savior medal, recovering 3 saves on their own, 2 for the Rebel and then 2 for Moxon. That's 7 saves on their side. So we're seeing a lot of heavy defense, but at the same time, we're seeing a lot of shots being taken. Like you mentioned in the shot count, and the fact that these saves are on the board, the scoreline would have been much higher. And 3-2 scoreline is still nothing to wave a stick at. So we're seeing a good bit of back and forth, both on both sides of the ball, both for saves and shots taken. And then not only that, but the pass plays were being made as well. You know, each side has 2 assists apiece, showing me that they're sharing the sugar a little bit. You know, they're not being greedy with the ball. And like we were talking about, you know, they're really being intentional, and they're having a lot of control with all their passes and all of their shots. So I'm really looking forward to how the rest of this game will unfold, because that was just game number 1.
Well, you know what? We're going to have, you and I and everybody here who is watching are going to get to watch 5 games unfold, because here at MLE, it is not a best of, it is a series of, meaning we don't play 1 or 2 or 3 games, we play all 5, because at the end of the day, all of the standings matter as we get closer to the end of the season. And that is something that is fairly unique here at MLE. We're not the only group to do that, but there's not that many. And we believe in playing all of those games, and because of that, it makes every series count, especially as we get closer to the end of the season.
And as we get this game underway, it will fall over to Moxon, who will try and get this towards Rogers, but Kava is there to break it up. Now Spidey going up nice and high, leaving it for Chaos Spike, who will hit this one off the backboard, nearly putting that one on target, as this will remain in the Hive side. Moxon is going to have their shot shut down by Spidey again at the midfield, but this pinch here will rocket all the way back to the Ducks half, as Chaos Spike looking to take some control, but will be shut down by Moxon. Moxon with a tactical whiff, but of course Spidey goes up nice and high to get the clear and send that one back to the Hive side.
Yeah, some really good play here by both sides. Is again, it's not really the feeling out period. Now it's about forcing your opponents to make a mistake and allowing your team to work their magic, and that's what we're seeing. The Ducks played very well on defense and then started to work the offensive side. But the Hive have not broken yet. So here we are, just over a minute into this game number 2. No score yet. Some good opportunities though on both sides, and you know, we're seeing excellent play, which, you know, a little bit of a different game than we saw last time, as the Ducks are taking a little bit more control of the ball. And yeah, it's been really good so far.
This also has given me a little bit of deja vu, you know, from the last series that we watched. Remember, you know, when we was watching the Rhinos and the Outlaws, their first game was really high scoring, and, you know, it was going back and forth. And then the second game, it was really a lot more controlled. You know, it was that 0-0 scoreline that eventually ended up being 1-0 in overtime. So, again, you know, we're seeing this trend of where they, you know, they kind of measure each other out in game number 1, and they find the back of the net. And now that they have each other read, they're starting to adapt to these plays. They know what they're looking for, and they're looking for their players and their teammates in the midfield, as Kava will put this into the back of the net off of the touch from Chaos Spike. A beautiful pass and a beautiful lineup, and honestly, not even the best defenders can follow up a high percentage pass play like that one.
Now you've got a player that's sitting right in the perfect number 2 spot, that slot right in front of the net, and he was able to be there and not be demoed, not be bothered, pestered, or bumped, and then is able to get that goal in. And that is what Kava is good at, right? That's, we talked about the stats at the start of the game. Kava is a shooter and is a point getter. So we now see the Ducks on the board. Half the game left though. Lots of time for things to change.
Yeah, we've seen so much happen in just an amount of like 45 seconds. A whole half of regulatory time is more than enough for the Hive to answer back with only being down 1 goal. Moxon now looking to tie things up here, looking for a flippery doodah set, but will not find it. But I like the tenacity. I like the attempt, because you're not gonna make any shot if you don't take it. Now Rogers taking some control here, going towards the midfield, has a lot of boost to work with, finds a teammate in the midfield, but not enough spinach on that one. It's not strong enough. This will now fall right back down to Rebel in the Hive, who will continue their offensive push.
Spidey here right off the backboard, doing a good job to slow things down just a little bit, give his teammates some time to reset in the defensive end, and I like the way that the Ducks are playing this. I think right now they're playing cautiously. They're up by a goal. There's no need to take any big risks, but at the same time, you don't want to lay off too much, right? Because if you're on defense all the time and you're not on offense at all, that means that the ball can only go in one net, and that would be your own. So good play here so far by the Ducks, and really good play and good pressure here by the Ducks as we see some sustained offensive rotations.
Yeah, and I like, ideally, Maple, you don't want to relax at any point given time, even if you have the 1-goal lead, but more often than not, you're going to want to get at least the insurance goal. You want to have at least a 2-goal lead before you start, focusing more on defense and running the clock. So if I was the Ducks right now, I would not be sleeping on this team at all, because I already know what they're capable of. They can hit the shots if they really needed to, with their backs against the wall. And as we just approach the 1-minute mark, they have plenty of time to do so.
They absolutely do here, and our boy Rogers from the OKSRP is able to clear that ball out into the Ducks' end, and a shot well placed, but a great save by Chaos Spike. Here we go with some more really good play from both sides. Spidey's going to dump that into the Hive zone, and we're seeing a little bit more pressure being put in here by the Hive. And as I say that, I know that the Ducks are in the Hive end, but this is something that we haven't seen a lot of since that last goal was scored. And I do agree with you. They don't want to sit back. It's not that they don't want to try and score, but with only 20 seconds left now, if I'm a Duck, I'm trying to run the clock. I'm not necessarily going to put myself out of position or take any risky plays, and that's something that the Hive have to do because they're losing anyways.
Yeah, honestly, if you're the Hive at this point, you got to let it all out. And what a shot like this, it could be the one, but it's Chaos Spike who gets back just in time. The play still not over as the clock will hit 0, but the ball has yet to hit the ground. This could be the final touch out into the corner, and it is. The Ducks will remain the winners, and they will take game number 2.
Well, the Ducks now take this game, and as you said, they've taken game number 2 and they took game number 1, so they have a 2-0 lead so far in the series. Why this matters is they were 3 games back of the Hive for first place in the division. Well, now they're only 1 place back of the Hive. Now, I understand that we still have 3 games left, and certainly a reverse sweep could happen. We know the skill of Moxon, Rogers, and Rebel from the Hive, but I don't know how likely that's going to be. We'll have to sit and find out and watch this game. But so far, I'm seeing Chaos Spike as a solid leader here on the Ducks. We're still seeing great play out of Rogers and out of Moxon here on the Hive, and Rebel, in fact, all 3 of them. But what do the Hive need to do, Captain, in order to try and bring this back?
It's really funny that you ask questions you already know the answer to. You know what I'm going to say. You know what they need to do. It's the Hive. Start stinging a little bit. I want to see some physical plays. I want to see some demos. Again, we're looking at the stats, and the stats will tell the tale. I don't even have to do a caps analysis to tell you there's too many saves on the board. They're spending too much time in their nets. Force them out. Either force them out with the shot count, meaning like put shots on target and force them to make plays and get themselves out of defensive positioning, or demo them, knock them out of the net physically, force them to respawn 3 seconds later, cause a mishap. You cannot always wait for an opportunity. Sometimes you have to create one.
Yeah, I agree with that. Creation of opportunity is a really important thing, and it's almost a skill in and of itself, right? We've talked about things you can do, like shooting off the backboard in order to draw those defenders out. Well, you know what? There's other things you can do too. Slow playing a ball in order to draw one of the defenders from the other team out, or maybe you've got really good dribble skills and you can dribble and you can dribble and whatnot. So it depends on your skill level. Both of these teams have tons of skill. I do think they do need to create their opportunities. I think you absolutely nailed that one on the head.
Speaking of getting nailed on the head, Spidey is going to nail Moxon right on the dome piece, getting the demo there as this one will go towards the corner. Spidey once again taking control but can't get past Rogers. Rogers trying to get past Kava but will not. This will remain in the Hive half as Kava is going to send this one across the net now as Rebel will hit this down, and Kava hitting their own teammate Chaos Spike could create a possible opportunity for the Hive to strike, but we will remain at 0-0 as Spidey will get a floater going all the way across the board now into the Hive corner, as this will remain onto the backboard, but Rogers getting there before Chaos Spike, as Spidey will make an attempt to go off the backboard, but a nice read from Rebel will get the clear and send it back to the other Hive.
And just as that happens, Chaos Spike is able to get that ball in back into the Hive end, and the Ducks are moving here. They're quacking hard. They're looking to get this flying V setup that they're so well known for. And you know, it's something that that the Ducks have a lot of capability to do, which is to push really hard on offense and get a goal. So kind of curious to see if they continue to push, or if the Hive are able to buzz around and score the first goal in game number 3.
I'm loving all the puns coming out from you right now. It's such a delight. I'm glad, because normally I'm the one that has to do it, but luckily I have a very punny co-caster, as this will now go off the backboard for Spidey, but will be met by Moxon. Moxon hitting this one towards their own net, but could be a successful back pass, but Spidey read that one like a pop-out book. It's going off into the side. Now the counterattack is now in development, but Chaos Spike cuts it off at the root, trying to get the read for the backboard play. Moxon, though, is able to get that read and shut it down. Kava now having to retreat back to play a little bit of defense, will bang it off the backboard, and now we'll go towards the middle, giving them too much time. You know, the Hive kind of let the offensive pressure slip a little bit as they try to maintain possession of the ball here. Chaos Spike will send this one off the backboard again, as Moxon goes up really quickly, looking for a midfield pass, but couldn't get the read off the backboard. Spidey is able to clear that one right back to the side.
Man, some great offensive pressure here by the Hive, as they're able to have about 30 seconds of sustained pressure. I love to see this. This is what real good teams are able to do, in that they're able to get that rotation going, and they're able to force the other team to hit the ball in ways they don't want to. You can't get clears if you're constantly hitting the ball into your corner where the other team is waiting for you. So you know what? Really good job here, and this is what the Hive need to do. This is the type of play they need in order to be able to win this game and not lose the series.
Yep, now it's still 0-0 with the majority of regulatory play already done with and over. Chaos Spike now with a nice pass down towards the middle. Shot on target, but Moxon will get the save, sending it back towards the midfield. Rebel looking for Rogers there, but will find the ground, as Kava will try and play some last-second defense onto the side, as they are still 0-0 here. Looking to get the first goal of the game. Rogers will try and pass this one out to Moxon off the side and off the side bar. Chaos Spike now taking control, but cannot get the control over Rebel.
And here are the Ducks trying to get this ball out, and they're having a hard time doing it. Again, the Hive continue to put tons and tons of offensive pressure here. And you know, when we look at the stats so far for this game, we can see already, you know, it shows the Hive as only having 2 shots, but I'm going to tell you, to me, they've had a lot more offensive pressure than the Ducks have, despite the Ducks actually having more shots.
And that's really a story we've been seeing a lot in this series, and for the entire night. You know, we're seeing the quality versus quantity. And don't get me wrong, both of them, you know, they bear fruit every once in a while. Speaking of bearing fruit, Moxon is going to find the back of the net and will find the one goal that they need to take the lead with just 21 seconds left to go. Off the pass from Rebel all the way out into the corner. And, you know, we mentioned this earlier, the trickiest parts of the field, in the places that you want to have the most presence, is at the midfield and the corner. And the Rebel on that play really came out of the corner to get a nice pass over to the midfield and find Moxon to get the one goal that they needed going into the last 10 seconds of this
Absolutely.
match.
Yeah, you were talking a lot about quantity over quality, or sorry, quality over quantity. But just as I say that, 6 seconds left, just a few seconds later, Kava able to punch that ball into the net off of a little bit of a poor play by Rebel in the defensive end, kind of a last-minute, last-ditch effort to try and make a save. No mistake there. We now have a tie game.
Yeah, that tie, I mean, the broken tie, rather, didn't last very long, did it? As we now approach the final seconds in what looked like it will be overtime. And again, this is really a battle of quality versus quantity. The quantity, of course, going to the Ducks. They have 7 shots on the board in 1 goal, as opposed to the Hive, who have only 3, but 1 goal as well. So we're really seeing quantity versus quality. Who will win all, as the Ducks have a 2-win lead in the series? Can they keep it up in OT, or will the Hive finally show up on the series board? Only overtime will tell, as this will go towards the midfield for Spidey. Now going on to the side, Kava looking for the cross map pass, but Chaos Spike was not there to capitalize. Moxon now looking to develop some offensive pressure here, and a mismatch almost put the ball into the back of the net. That was almost devastating for the Ducks.
It was almost devastating for the Ducks, and what a bit of a mistake there. And just as I say that, Moxon shoots and scores, winning game number 3 for the Hive. They take their first one off of the Ducks.
And I'm glad they did too, because we really like to see these even scorelines, especially because we do play all 5 games no matter what. You still want to see the series go into game number 5 all on its own. And now with that win, the Hive are on the board. It is now an overall of 2-1. 2 for the Hive, 1 for the Ducks. And also that just happens to be our scoreline. But let's take a look at a little bit of the stats here in Cap's analysis. Also, again, just got to point out that every single goal that was scored in this game came off of a pass play. So what does that tell you? The pass plays win the games. They also have an equal number of saves on the board, 3 apiece for the Hive and 3 for the Ducks. And the shot count was really the only difference maker between these two teams. And again, it was that quality versus quantity. But in that overtime half, Moxon really came out peppering the net. And of course, Rebel came in clutch with a nice pass off of the backboard, catching the defense slipping. Like, just overall leading to their victory in overtime. But you really like to see the back and forth that we have going so far. And now that the Hive have a win on the board, the momentum is finally in their favor heading into the next game.
Well, Moxon's got to be feeling great, because the Ducks had really been in their end. They had really been pushing hard for the first, 30 seconds of that overtime. And then the ball gets cleared out by the Hive. A really good job. Moxon finds himself in the right place at the right time and is able to get that ball into the net. Kava tied it up with only 6 seconds left, and Kava was also the hero in overtime in game number 1. So I kind of thought, okay, here we go. This is what we're looking for, and this is what we want to see. But Moxon says, nope, you know what? Hold my balls grana, my friend, because I'm going to finish this game. The Hive have now won a game, and the potential for the reverse sweep is real.
I was getting ready to talk about that. The reverse sweep now is definitely a possibility, as that 2-1 scoreline is definitely there, and if they win 2 more games, they will pull it out as we head here in game number 4. But I like the attempt to bump, just not quite on target. Much like shots, bumps also have to be on target, just like this shot. But Kava is able to get the epic save just in time. I definitely thought that one was going to go in.
Yeah, I also thought that was going to go in, but here we are 30 seconds into the game, and it is still tied as the Ducks throw it into the Hive end, hoping to get something started. Spidey turns around, puts a shot on net, but an easy save for Rogers, as I think that was actually going to be a little bit wide.
Yeah, and I mean, again, so far, it's really, really not anybody's ball game. We're still tied at 0, but again, we're talking about these out of position demos, which honestly, that one was a little out of position. No, the ball wasn't even on that half of the field, but if you see someone lingering around like a sitting duck, you might as well take the advantage and get a demo. Spidey now going off the backboard, looking for the midfield pass, and will find the pass, but the shot finds the crossbar, and the crossbar is without a doubt the best defender in Rocket League.
Yeah, I would say that the best 2 defenders in Rocket League are the crossbar and the posts. And just as I say that, Rogers makes absolutely no mistake and puts that ball in off of a self-pass, and we talked about this earlier. Really good job, and Kava's not able to make that save. 1-0 for the Hive, but still lots of time left for the Ducks to come back.
Yeah, I saw Rogers there. I see you, Rogers, with a little finesse and flair, going up with some freestyles. I see that. And don't get me wrong, the little aerial dance that they were doing up there really kind of played the defender for a second, because you're thinking that Rogers is going to fly straight for the ball, but they kind of let off the boost a little bit, feathering it a little bit, letting the ball come to them instead of flying straight for it, throwing the defender off and giving them the opportunity to follow it up with a touch and put it into the back of the net. So good aerial mechanics there. And now Chaos Spike returning the favor with some aerial mechanics of their own. We are tied back up at 1 from the pass from Kava. Chaos Spike will beat the defender there, and the ball will beat another defender back.
No mistake made there by Chaos Spike, as you pointed out. Tying up this game and this series has been close. Every game has been close. And as we continue to proceed, Rogers hits that ball into the Ducks' end and they move it aside. And, you know, we've seen some absolutely fantastic play. And this game has been no different. Not a lot of crazy mistakes being made by either team. And that's actually impressive to me because, you know, with the amount of goals that we've seen, you mentioned this before, they've all been passing plays. And passing plays pull your defenders out. It doesn't necessarily mean anybody's making a mistake. It means that they're just trying to make sure that the ball doesn't go in. So really good effort by both teams to make this an extremely tight and, frankly, for us, a very entertaining game.
Yeah, and not only that, but you know how when you have a really good Rocket League match is when you make the caster's job difficult because these plays are going by so quickly. It's almost hard to keep up with it, you know, to try and relay it from our eyes into words. And that's how you know they're really laying it all down on the field right now, is when you make a caster's job difficult. As this will now go towards the midfield, and Kava will hit this one up high with no follow-up, leaving time for Rogers to put a shot on net as Spidey will save that one. And now Rebel looking for a midfield pass, but Moxon not in the best of positions for that one. And what was almost a bump play will not come to fruition here, as now the follow-up open net opportunity. Call that net Macaulay Culkin because no one was home. A wide open net for Moxon and an easy goal, now making it 2-1 for the Hive.
Oh, my friend, I absolutely love your puns. You're a very punny man indeed. And I, being a dad, I think that I appreciate that humor. But you are absolutely right on that one. Absolutely no mistake made there at all by the Hive as they continue to take advantage of any of the mistakes that the Ducks make. And as I said earlier, they are few and far between. But right there, an overcommitment by the Ducks meant that the net was left wide open as the support person headed in a little bit too quickly.
And now Spidey trying to rectify their mistake and even the game back up at 2. Will not find the back of the net. Chaos Spike now taking a turn. Will find a defender as this one is hit up high. And we have 2 people from the Ducks flying a little bit too sporadic for that, as this will go back out to the side, leaving it for Moxon to hit this one into the Ducks corner, giving all the time in the world for Rogers to get the follow-up touch, but will find Kavanaugh off the corner there, as this will go back towards the side and back into the midfield. Moxon will get this past one defender, but Kava was there to look for a cherry-picking teammate. Spidey hits this one back up to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh off the back wall. The follow-up from Chaos Spike will be shut down by Rogers. That was almost an equalizer. And now the counter-attack from Rogers will give them a much-needed insurance goal with only 46 seconds left on the clock.
Well, with 46 seconds left on the clock, if I'm the Ducks, I am overcommitting a little bit when I'm down by 1 because I'm already losing the game and I need to take some opportunities, some chances. Well, we saw the punish. Again, an overcommit as all of the Ducks were too far into the zone and nobody was able to get back on defense. This is what happens when you're at this skill level, is we're starting to see some punishments here. But let's see how this plays out, because 30 seconds, while not a lot of time, we do both know very well from our experience that it is enough time to score a couple of goals.
Yeah, it's definitely plenty of time, but you know, you're entering that realm of probable versus possible. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Probably not. Especially, you know, when, you know, we have Rogers and the rest of the Hive playing the amount of defense they have been all night. They are very rare to let anything go by, and with the last 10 seconds, last 5 seconds now, it's looking all more likely, and now it's pretty sure a definite thing that the Hive have just taken game number 4, and we are heading into game number 5.
You know what's funny? You called this, my friend. You said it's probably going to be another tight game. I think it was you. Anyways, and at the end of the day, here we are. Our second series tonight. The first one, the Outlaws managed to bring it out to a game 5. Now we have the Hive, who are pushing back really hard, and the Hive have now won the last 2 games. They certainly have the momentum as they continue to push forward. So we've talked about this before. What changes did the Hive need to make? Well, if the Ducks want to come back and win this one so that they don't find themselves down by 4 games, you know, in the division, what do they need to change, Captain, in order to win?
Well, I mean, the Ducks really need to just bring back some of that tenacity they had in game number 1 and 2. They were playing a lot more offense, and they were getting a lot done more at the midfield, a lot more control, a lot more intentional passing plays. Not that they're not pulling off their passing plays. They had one goal in this game, and it came off of a pass, but they were able to try and maneuver around the defense, and now their defense has just been holding strong over there on the Hive side, and they haven't been able to get around it. So that's really what they're going to have to figure out. And the thing about it is that we can see how close they are just from the stats, because I don't know if y'all noticed, but both teams in that game, granted it was a 3-1 scoreline, but the shots, they had 9 apiece. 9 for the Ducks, 9 for the Hive. The saves, 5 for the Ducks, 5 for the Hive. So they were dead even in stats. The difference maker was the mishaps, were the errors that came from the Ducks, but no error will be had there from the Hive as they score early, as we can clearly see that Rocket League is a very momentum heavy game, and the Hive are taking the momentum, looking for the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I have to think there that Spidey, who was in net, thought that was actually going to go off of one of the posts, because they really didn't jump at that ball or adjust themselves much to try and make that save. That is a mistake. I think that it is important for Spidey, and I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, but I think it's very important there for Spidey. If that ball is close to your net, do something to try and make the save, because you want to direct it away, even if you don't think it's going to go in. At least then you can control where the ball goes if you get a touch. But just as I say that, Rogers beats a couple of defenders, and we have a 2-goal lead for the Hive. Still plenty of time left to play, but this momentum, this morale, the Hive have got to be cheering loudly for themselves in comms. And I wonder, how quiet are the Ducks?
Well, that's the thing, though. They can't afford to be quiet. And the same thing with the fans in the chat right now. No matter what your team is, no matter who you're rooting for, the Hive or the Ducks, they need you right now. Let's hear it up in chat. Are you rooting for the Ducks? Are you rooting for the Hive? Throw up your hands, give up that spirit energy, whatever it has to do to boost your team. The Hive are up 2 right now. They can both use all the support that they can get. And with that being said, I will have to say that the momentum for the Hive is monumentous going forward, and with last second saves like that one, the momentum will continue to carry, because ever since they won that first game, the momentum has just been going more and more in favor of the Hive. And unfortunately for the Ducks, we're seeing what I like to call quicksand. And especially we saw it in the last game with all the errors and mistakes they made, is that when you make one mistake, then you make another and another, and you start getting in your own head about it, and then it just piles on until eventually you are submerged. It happens in every single type of sport, every single esport, and I think that's what the Ducks are suffering from right now. So they really need to get a goal on the board. They need to break the drought and get out of their own heads. It's time to act, and the time is now.
The time is now. I agree with that, because I think that, they don't want to leave it too late. And I don't want them to take any unnecessary risks. But what I think they really need to do is focus on control. Get that ball, don't hit it away, demo the defenders, and open up the net for attack. And that way you can get 1 goal. You don't need to worry about getting 2 right now. You need to focus on getting the first one, and then you can worry about the second one. 1 goal at a time. And I know that's awfully cliche, but as I say that, a little bit of a communication error is my guess by the Ducks, and Rebel punches that in, a 3-goal lead for the Hive. And if things continue the way they are, the reverse sweep is looking a heck of a lot more likely.
Yeah, because honestly, this is probably the biggest goal differential that we've had in this series. I don't think a single team has taken 3-goal lead or a 3-goal advantage against the other. So this happening in game number 5 is huge, especially for the Hive, being that they're trying to pull off this reverse sweep. Like you said, doesn't always get to happen, but when we get to see it, it is quite the show. So it's looking good for the Hive right now, but still, there is more than a half of game left for the Ducks to try and fight back, but the momentum from the Hive will continue on with this goal coming from Rebel, and it just seems like the Hive are swarming, and they are looking superb and nearly unstoppable.
Yeah, you know what? They're playing very well. And in this last goal, what we see is a bad 50-50 here from the Ducks. Chaos Spike has control of that ball, which is exactly what we wanted him to do. But at the same time, Chaos Spike has it on the inside nose of his car. And so the only way that 50 is going to go is towards your net. In that case, if I'm Chaos, I try and put that ball on the outside of my car in order to hopefully not have that 50 go that way. And as I say that, Rogers coming in off of a pass off the backboard from Rebel. And here we go, a 5-goal lead. And this game is starting to look more and more like it's finished.
Now, did you notice what happened there? I don't know if anybody saw it, but I'll gladly point it out to you. Moxon got a demo on the goalie there, opening it up and leaving the net wide open. That time, no demo was needed. Rebel is going to walk this one in like they're walking a Cocker Spaniel in a park. Too easy. Rebel, with all the time in the world, just a slow roller into the back of the net will get the job done. It is now 6-0 with 2 minutes and 11 left. Don't get me wrong, it's plenty of time for the Ducks to make a comeback. That's the thing about scoring goals in quick succession, is that you still leave a lot of time on the clock. And if the Hive can score 6 goals in that allotted amount of time, then the Ducks could theoretically, probably, possibly do it as well. It's all about execution. The Ducks, if they're gonna have a hope, if they're gonna have a prayer, they have to start clicking. They have to start doing it now. They literally cannot afford to waste any more time.
Yeah, this is a game that we didn't expect. And just as I say that, Rogers up in the air, punches that ball in as the offensively minded Ducks are trying to do something. Spidey not able to get up into the air enough to make that save. And it is now 7-0, and 1 goal here for the Ducks. And suddenly the question is, did the Ducks bring their passports?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good now, and I'll be completely honest with you, Ducks. You're making me look bad because I've been hyping y'all up all game number 5, hoping for the comeback to come in, hoping that we're gonna see the mighty Flying V or the Mighty Ducks show up, something, and then I done went and hyped all of it up. And it's just not happening. It's like an E3 press conference all over again. All hype, no bring about,
Oh man, that is great. You know what? I think what the Ducks need is a visit from Coach Gordon Bombay here in order to see something appear. But no, at the end of the day, I think the Ducks here are a great team. I don't want to put them down. I don't want to say anything bad about them because, A, they are great people. I know them all very well. But also because it's tough. There's no way that they want to be down 8-0 right now as we see Rebel take advantage of a half shot and unfortunately Chaos Spike just jump a little bit early off the wall and not be quite in the right position to get that ball. The Ducks have got to be feeling bad about this, and they have kept this series close. We've seen plenty of skill. We've seen Kava and Chaos Spike able to make some great plays, and Spidey has been excellent on the clearance end and just trying to keep that ball in the Hive end. So, I don't want to say they're making us look bad. I think that they played some excellent games, but I do want to point out that in this game, the Hive were able to execute whatever plan they had coming in, and they have absolutely been swarming. They are not letting the Ducks touch that ball unless it's maybe an own goal. But as I say that, Moxon bringing it in from the other end. 9-0 now. We still have 30 seconds left. The real question at Soka is it going to be 10?
I mean, does it have to be? I don't even think they needed to make it 9. They really just could have just ran out the clock at this point. But if you're going to get some shooting practice done, you might as well take the opportunity to do so. At this point, it's more like duck hunting, if you ask me. But who am I? I'm just a commentator, caster / hooligan. So with 15 seconds left to go, I think it's all but over except the crying as Kava will take this one out into the corner. And now Chaos Spike looking to get on the board for the first time tonight, and literally will be the definition of way too little, way too late.
Well, you know what? Nonetheless, a really nice shot here by Chaos Spike as he goes up into the air, puts that one on net, gets that consolation goal. 9-1 right now for the Hive. This one is done and dusted, and the Hive have completed the infamous reverse sweep.
Which is really, honestly, just to a compliment for the Hive, being able to pull that reverse sweep out. And again, if I was the Ducks, I wouldn't feel bad at all. Like, you went all the way to game number 5. You brought it all the way into the last bit of play. You took them to overtime twice. They definitely made you work for it. Like, this is not an easy team. This is no pushover team. This is a good team. So the fact that you already took them all the way to game number 5, and then the fact that we do play all 5 games, you're walking away with 2 wins. I've seen teams come on here and they literally lose 5-0. They walk away with nothing. But you left with 2 wins in hand. Don't hang your head low. Yes, I crack jokes, but it's all love and no heartburn. I think you played just swell. If any advice from me, I would say, just don't let those mistakes get to you. Don't get into your own head. Treat each game like it's a brand new series, because you don't want to go in with the mistakes from the last game still haunting you, because I think that's what happened to you in game number 5. You were making some mistakes, you were making some mishaps, and you got down on yourself. If I was you, I would still hold my head up high and, not be so hard on yourself, because you're definitely a talented team. We all know that. We all see it.
Yeah, they are a very talented team indeed. And you know what? We got to watch some fantastic Rocket League tonight. And one of the things that I probably didn't mention at the beginning is tonight's broadcast was brought to you in part by APM Music, and also one of our other sponsors, Balls Guarana. And talking about play of the week, there were some phenomenal plays here in this game. And if there is a play that you saw that you really liked, make sure that you snip it here at Twitch, and then post that clip that you take out into the Play of the Week channel here in the main MLE server, and the winner of that Play of the Week could win a case of Balls Guarana. You know what, Captain Atsoka? I think that we got to watch some fantastic Rocket League tonight. This coming week, we're going to take a week off in honor of July 4th and Independence Day and Canada Day, in fact, on July 1st. So you and I have the pleasure of saying goodnight tonight. After the last, for a couple of weeks. We'll be back again on the 10th for our next broadcast. And Captain, any parting words here tonight?
Absolutely. As always, it's an absolute pleasure here being able to cast at Minor League Esports, presented by APM Music. But I just want to give a quick shout out to JSA and everybody that's working behind the scenes that we really don't get to see. They're putting on a pretty great production. We got Tuba in the control room right now, and just all the people that really come together to make this community work, make it click. All the players that came out tonight, and then of course, our special guest Rogers from the Oklahoma State role play group, and everybody that showed out to watch for that. So, again, just a huge shout out to everybody involved, including those working behind the scenes.
Wonderful. Well, from my friend Captain Atsoka, I've been Maple, and thanks again to JSA, Tuba, and RJ Soros, who made this broadcast happen tonight. From all of us, see you in a couple weeks.